Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our talk show on My Child and I. We are here today because for a long time we've been told to start as young as possible. So, in this show, we'll discuss why early years are considered to be most essential for children's growth and development, answer some of your queries, and most importantly, try and offer some ideas on how to navigate this new normal. I'm Pamenda Kohli, and today we are in conversation with a very special guest, Miss Adi Lakshmi Chintalapati, an early childhood expert who's passionate about developing strong values and 21st century skills in children. She has tremendous experience of working with both the national and international curriculum from kindergarten to 12. Her expertise lies in areas of curriculum design, faculty training, technology integration, and consulting. Thank you for being with us today, ma'am.
Thank you, Parminder, and a very good afternoon to you and all the guests here. I'm delighted to be a part of this webinar.
So, my first question is, ma'am, how can we explain this need for social distancing to our children?
Yeah, this is a totally new situation. Nobody was prepared for it. It just came out of the blue. It was suddenly thrust on families. And for children, it's like their whole world has turned upside down. In fact, for adults as well. But for children, it's even more difficult. And parents are also going through disruption in their lives, in their professional lives, in their personal lives. They are also learning how to cope. And we are learning about this every day. We're getting new information about this every day. So it's an ongoing situation. And in this kind of a situation, one has to figure out how to make sure that the children are comfortable, the children are well taken care of, and there are no long-term detrimental effects on the children as a result of this. So parents struggle to maintain a semblance of normalcy in their lives. I would suggest that it's a good thing to practice the 3 R's with the children. Reassure them. So the first R would be reassurance. Reassure the children. Tell them that it'll all be okay. We'll come back to normalcy. This is just for a short term, and we just will pass. This will pass, and giving them age appropriate information. See, when you withhold information or don't tell children things thinking that they will not understand or they may get scared, then they become more anxious. And the second R would be routines. So maintain routines. Yeah, routines give predictability, because things are so unpredictable at this time that one doesn't know what is going to happen in the next instance. But routines give predictability. So if things happen at the same time consistently, then the child knows that this is a given. So maintaining routines and regulation. So bringing in some exercise and consistency through yoga, or breathing exercises,
Mindfulness
pranayam.
exercise.
Yeah, pranayam. And children love interesting yoga, like animal poses in the yoga. So there's child yoga, which most schools are also doing yoga with children, mindfulness, breathing exercises. We have to trust in their understanding, that they will understand at our level. And if the information comes from parents, that's the best thing.
So now that the children are not able to go to school physically and online classes have now become the norm, so what I want to know from you is how can parents support their children in these online classes? I've got many complaints from parents when they say that their children don't sit for the online class. So in such a situation, what is it that they need to do?
Yeah. See, again, this is a situation that has been thrust on teachers and schools, and this is a wonderful way that they are coping with the new requirements. So normally in a face-to-face classroom, when the child is in the class, teacher is with the child. There's material that the teacher is showing the child, material that the teacher is working along with the child, and they are interacting together. The teacher is by the child, supporting the learning process. And
Right.
technology has already been in use in the classroom. It's not like it is something completely new to children. So these children
Absolutely.
are, yeah, they are used to using that technology. And now in this situation, the teachers are making the best of the learning outcomes. So they are engaging the children through these online platforms, and
Right.
they have modified their lesson plans to suit this online teaching. So, but the most important thing is that, is it being used as an energizer or as a pacifier?
Right.
Because children, you know if they are just sitting and watching some content and they are absorbing it without engaging, the most important thing, especially for young children, is that it has to be a creative space. Are they creating something? Are they learning something from the technology when they are using it? Yeah.
So,
So,
ma'am, we know that children learn best through hands on exploration of their physical environment, and play is an important element of childhood and learning. So, my question is, what is the relevance of sensory play, and how can we integrate sensory play in our everyday life?
yeah. So, the senses, the five senses of sight, smell, touch, hearing, taste. So these are so important. They're very important for children in the early years. Maria Montessori actually called this birth to 6 years as the sensorial period of life. And these senses are the gateway for learning. So what happens is that when children are born, they the nerves are not connected. The synaptic connections form in the early years. The synaptic connection between the nerves form in the early years, and
Right.
these connections are based on their sensorial experience. So when a child is born, they may have about 50 trillion to 1000 to 50 trillion connections, which goes up to 1000 trillion by the end of 3 years. So that's the rate of growth in these synaptic connections within the nerves. And a lot of this happens during the early years. So this is the critical period for sensorial development. So it's
One
important.
of the reasons, ma'am, do you think it's one of the reasons that they don't sleep on time and they don't have a fixed routine back home, that they're not really very keen on these online classes, and the complaint that we've heard that they don't sit and all, maybe because we don't explain it to them?
Yeah, so it's very important that the family has to follow a routine. You may be at home, but you have to have fixed time and sleep early, wake up early. And it's a good thing, if children get up early, they'll watch the sunrise, and they can do some exercise in the morning. That'll freshen them up, because for immunity and resistance now, exercise and breathing is also very important. So we can practice this with the children if we help them to sleep early, to wake up early, to do some exercise in the morning. So having fixed times. So I told you that rhythm is very good for children. Keeping that structure going is very important.
So, ma'am, we know that reading is one of the most fundamental skills children need to learn to be
Mm,
successful. So,
mm,
some children they have a natural love for reading, while
mm,
others may not have, and they may need to be coaxed. So,
mm.
in such a scenario, what can we do to encourage reading habits in kids?
Reading is really a very, very important skill that children need to develop, because it's the gateway to learning. And children need to understand very early that knowledge, information, entertainment, fun comes from these books. So it's good to first of all, for parents to model this behavior at home, like for instance having a mini library at home, and bringing books which are appropriate, keeping them at the home. Parents also modeling reading. So when you have parents and other adults in the
Right.
home who are reading, who like to read, automatically the child knows that something interesting is coming out of this book. It's so engaging. So then the child starts enjoying the reading. So starting it early, having child-friendly books, and bedtime reading. When it's that emotional connection when you are
The
with the
parents need
child.
to spend some time reading to their children too.
Yeah, reading the bedtime story to the child. So sitting along with the child. So creating that emotional bond. So the child always remembers reading as a very pleasant activity, something they enjoyed. That the parent sat close to the child, or whoever is the caregiver sitting close to the child, reading with the child. So bedtime stories. We also have something called dear time. Drop
Yeah.
everything
Everything
and read.
and read.
So, for 15-20 minutes or half an hour, everybody in the house is reading.
Right.
And even though young children can't understand the print, but keep reading the print. So if you're reading a story which has pictures and it has a description, read the description, point your finger, take your finger along the words so that the child knows that this is the word you're saying. And although you know that the child cannot read,
I
but
know.
keep modeling, yeah, modeling that behavior, and encourage reading in the children. So that would surely help them. So that's very important to develop that listening skill
Yeah.
in the children. But if you want children to listen to instructions, then we have to make sure that we are speaking clearly to the child. One is make eye contact. When you're talking to the child, make eye contact, come to the child's level. So make sure that the child can see you and speak clearly and give instructions. um, and sometimes pictorial instructions. So because children recognize, they like pictures. So even pictures and figures are a good way for children to know what they have to do. So we have different um, emojis and icons that the children recognize, speaking through a different medium.
And making kids future ready involves a shared responsibility between parents and teachers working together that will lead to the best results for children. So, thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us today and giving your valuable inputs. I have learned a lot today, and I'm sure our audience have also learned back at home. So, thank you so much.
Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you very much.
Have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.